Craig Wright has won, in inverted commas, another legal case. I don't want to go too much into the details of all this because I certainly am not an expert in what's going on, but I think it was worth reading out that he was suing Peter McCormack over the fact that Peter McCormack basically called him a fraud on his podcast a bunch of times. And so Craig said, look, you called me a fraud in front of millions of people. That's defamation. And sued him in the UK, I guess because Peter is British and Craig is, I think, living in the UK as well too. So I guess that was the place to do it. Plus, the defamation laws in the UK are quite weak. So the judgment of all this came out. And here's what the final conclusion was, according to the judge. Quote, for these reasons, I conclude that A, Publication 16 meant that there were reasonable grounds for questioning or inquiring as to whether the claimant had fraudulently claimed to be Satoshi. This was defamatory at common law. B, Mr. McCormack is responsible for the republication of Publication 16 by the posting of the recording on YouTube. C, each of publications 1 to 10 and 12 to 16 caused serious harm to the reputation of Dr. Wright. D, however, because he advanced a deliberately false case and put forward deliberately false evidence until days before trial, he will recover only nominal damages. Accordingly, I shall enter judgment for Dr. Wright on the claim in the sum of £1. I shall therefore invite written submission in light of this judgment on the question of injunctive or other relief and on costs. End quote. So basically what the judge is saying is, okay, I don't know what all these exhibits were, right? But presumably that's episodes of the podcast or clips or whatever the hell, whatever, where he was calling him a fraud. The judge is saying, okay, you did just basically call him a fraud, like in the public, and you maybe didn't necessarily have a bulletproof case for that. Like Peter McCormack, I know, dropped his truth defense, not because it wasn't viable, but just because it would have been too expensive for him to actually hire enough lawyers and, hash it all out for another 6 months or whatever. So basically the judge was like, well, okay, on technical grounds, I have to give the win to Craig. But the reality of the matter was that the judge also knew that Craig was basically trying to run a scam because, as he says, you've put forward a deliberately false case and you've also put in a lot of false evidence. So I'm going to give you the technical win while doing everything I can to make the point that basically you lost.